What's going on, everyone? So I watched a lot of videos on YouTube, people claiming that they can paint their vehicle with rattle cans. Is it possible? My answer to you is yes, it is possible. Let me explain. Starting off, I went with the products Meguiars Ultimate Compound, Color and Clarity Restore. I went with Expert Sandable Primer by Upol. I went with Dupli Color Perfect Match paint. This is Storm Gray Metallic. I went with Dupli Color's 1K Clear Pearl finish. Wonderful. So for this project, you're gonna need 800 grit, 1000 grit, 1500 grit, 2500 grit, 3000, and of course my favorite, 5000s. Okay, starting off, I sanded the panel with the 800. Wet sanded it, got it all down nice and smooth. Once that was done, I cleaned it with a tack rag and alcohol. Make sure there's no contaminants on the actual piece. Once that was done, I went with the primer and I laid down 2 coats of thick primer on this panel. Once I went and coated the primer, I went back and I wet sanded the primer with 1500. Again, but make sure the primer's dry before you start wet sanding. That's just a disclaimer. So 1500, I wet sanded the panel with the 1500, got it all nice and smooth. I cleaned it with alcohol and a tack rag. Again, making sure there's no contaminants because whatever's showing in the primer is gonna show in your paint. At that point, I went with the Dupli Color Perfect Match Storm Gray Metallic. Now, I will tell you, I shook this can up for 3 minutes, okay? I cleared out any air that was in the line, well, not the line, but the actual can. I sprayed, make sure there's no air. However, I found that with the rattle cans, it's never a good idea. For me at least, it didn't work out too well. Spraying down towards the ground was not very effective. It just kept spitting and it was ruining the paint job. So I had to restart over. So the best way I found this works the best is to spray with the can in the most upright position possible. Make sure between each spray or each run, you make sure you shake this bad boy up because if it gets air in the can between the paint and the nozzle, it's gonna spit and you're not gonna be happy. Trust me. All right, once this was all said and done, I went over the paint, make sure it was clean. I used a tack rag again, make sure it was all nice and wiped down and make sure there's no debris. And then I laid down the Dupli Color 1K Clear. This stuff works extremely good, maybe too good. I will tell you, just forewarning you, don't get clear happy, okay? I went and followed the directions exactly to the T after I made my mistake the first time. When it tells you to wait, it tells you to wait like 10 minutes between each coat. That's about right. For this one, it says additional coats needed after 2 hours must be applied after 48 hours of dry time. That's exactly what I did, okay? Because the first time I got a little too clear happy and I laid down a little too much clear at the very bottom, but it doesn't matter because you're not gonna see it. The way this lays down inside the panel, you won't see it, but I made that mistake and I'm glad it was down here and not up here, okay? Now, once this bad boy was fully cured, 48 hours, I laid down another coat. Now the 48 hours, I laid down 3 coats of clear, okay? That's just me, 3 coats of clear, all right. Once that was all said and done, I started with now I used 1000s. A lot of people tell you use 1500. I went with the 1000 and I actually sanded down the panel 1000 front to back evenly. Once it was all done, I went with the 1500. And again, I was wet sanding with water in a bucket, okay? Then I went back with 1500. Up to 2500, and then with the 3000s, then with the 5000, and then the final result, ultimate compound. So let me show you the before and after. So this is a finished piece, okay? And I have to tell you, it came out beautiful. No orange peel. It looks like a paint job on a car. It looks beautiful. I mean, the video won't even do it justice. This panel just came out perfect. Maybe I can come in here and there you go. Look at this. Just beautiful. It looks like a paint job on a car and it's very durable. Just want to let you know it's very durable. Okay. Now, I'm gonna show you where I started going to 1,000. I haven't even finished this panel yet. Right now, I'm currently at 1,000. This is the untouched, unsanded panel. And as you can see here, hold on. I'm gonna try to do the best I can to show you the orange. You see the orange peel, ladies and gentlemen? You see all that orange peel? Looks really nasty, right? This is the side of the panel where it's all done. It's all 1,000. I started sanding at 1,000. You can see it's getting rid of all the inconsistencies and orange peel. And as I go along, you will see that this will go away, having the end result of this. Just beautiful. So that have played with these spray cans before and you're like, man, these things suck, they don't work. You have to read the directions on the back of the can. You have to use it the proper way. If you don't use the product properly and don't prep the panels properly, you're gonna have problems. It's just simple as that. You gotta follow directions. You know, I spent 21 years in the Marines, and if it's one thing I learned about being in the Marine Corps is attention to detail. One thing that Marines are very good at doing is following directions. Why? Because it could mean the difference between life or death. And I'm being serious. I did 21 years in the Marines. I was in Iraq, Afghanistan, and following directions can mean the difference between life or death. Following orders and following directions. I use that in every day of my life. Everything I do, I follow things to a T, like detail, like attention to detail, following the directions, exactly how it's supposed to be done. You'll have no problems. It's the same thing when I went to the marksmanship course, and I went to become a marksman instructor. Right? When I sat in that class, I would put myself in a mindset that I never shot a weapon before, even though I've been on multiple ranges and I was an expert shooter. I always would go in with the mindset that I don't know nothing, right? Following directions to the T, how to get proper sight alignment, how to correct windage. If you do it the right way the first time, you will always be on target with everything you do. If you're doing an install, let's say you're doing coilovers or you're doing brakes, and you're a do-it-yourselfer for the first time, and you've never done it before, sit back, watch a few videos, maybe more than a few videos, and then pay attention to detail. Pay attention to everything that person's saying, and I promise you, your personal project will come out perfect. As you can see, I'm extremely pleased with those 4 products that I just named. Meguiars Ultimate Compound, Upol Expert Sandable Primer, Dupli Color Perfect Match, and of course Dupli Color 1K Clear. I mean, I'm just like, wow, I'm about to paint my car next, but I don't think I'm going to use a spray can for that. More likely, I'm going to acquire a 80-gallon air compressor with an actual gun for that type of project. But this just goes to show you that if you could do this type of work with a rattle can, imagine what you could do with some spray guns. So, I think I'm gonna take the stab at it eventually. Once I get my garage built in the back, get the man cave all set up, I'm gonna put a paint booth back there and do some body work and see what I'm capable of. So, until then, I appreciate the love and support. God bless.